Demon Tweaks Yokohama Stock Cats Championship was wrapped up at Donington Park by Tom Bell. This is going to be the 13th and final round of the championship, because yesterday's race fell victim to the weather. On pole position for this one, Shane Deegan, looking to cement second position in the championship. Next to him on the front of the grid is Tom Bell. Row 2, Lee Deegan, and the orange car there, number 81, Nathan Saunders. Lights out then, the race gets underway. We're on board with Paul Jarvis, who's starting on the third row of the grid, the inside of row 3, but immediately he loses a little bit of ground to the yellow car of Andrew Tibbs there. Meanwhile, Shane Deegan has made a good start. He's started in the lead. There's two cars getting together though further back. One of them, the blue car there spinning, is Terry Roughton. The other may well have been the 12 car, I think, of Steve Polston as well. You can see there the Clios in their own separate race, half a dozen of them just setting off. It was Matt Fincham and Martin Ward on the first row of the grid as far as the Clios were concerned, not racing for championship points. On board with Paul Jarvis. He's got that place back from Andrew Tibbs, I think, as they go over the crest and up towards Park Corner for the first time. So Jarvis back to 5th position as he turns into the right-hander. Jarvis, last time out, had his first ever podium finish in Stock Cats. You just can't keep Andrew Tibbs behind him though, because Tibbs got his nose back in front through Chris Curve there. Now down towards the gooseneck they go. Then a very challenging corner, this one. Let's have a look at those two in the background. There's just Jarvis holding on, but it's Shane Deegan leading, Tom Bell second, Nathan Saunders has gone up to third, and it's Lee Deegan completing the top 4. Carl Swift there in the number 45 car, the lime green car. Good to see him out at Cadwell Park this weekend. Rob Drake was in that car in the early part of the season. Floppy Marcus just getting a little bit of a brush there. On board with Steve Polston there. That's the Carl Swift car up ahead. The green car is one he manages to get past. This is the Silver Fox then, Terry Roughton, veteran of the championship. Polston there, well, just trying to find a way through on the inside. On the outside it would have been for Coppis. Polston survived, but Roughton unfortunately less fortunate. He has got going again, but he's a long way at the back. You can see Shane Deegan making the best of the starts. And here's the incident further back. Yes, Polston and Roughton there, both of them onto the grass. We had a similar type of incident on the left-hand side of the circuit, the low cost yesterday, which brought out the red flags, but fortunately the race able to continue uninterrupted here. No change in the order then. It's still Shane Deegan leading, the champion Tom Bell with a lot of ballast on his car, like an 85 kilograms of ballast for his success in the last few rounds of the championship, which may hurt him here at Cadwell Park. Then Nathan Saunders in third. He's got about 60 kilograms less ballast on board his car, with just 2 podium finishes in his last 5 race results. That's how the ballast is decided. So Saunders chasing down Tom Bell here. Tom Bell, the engine tuning expert, produces and provides the engine for many of the cars out on the track. Here's Steve Polston then after that early brush, and a relatively clear track ahead of him at the moment, but he's a bit further down the order than he would have liked to have been. He was on the podium at the Silverstone International Circuit, of course, a couple of months ago. There's Bell, still with Saunders only a couple of car lengths behind him then, as they turn their way through the left-hander at Mansfield, now heading towards the Woodland section once more, with Shane Deegan ahead. Shane's slightly less experienced brother Lee just behind, and Lee looking good here to wrap up the rookie championship. He should get third overall in the points, I would think, all being well. There you can see the Clios, the fastest of the Clios now getting on terms with the slower stock catches, and it's Martin Ward and Matt Fincham that are fighting their way up the order. Martin Ward, who was a Saxo racer in the Stock Cats Championship until last season, as was Matt Fincham. Fincham helping with the development of the Clios, which should have their own standalone grids for next season. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Oh, what a moment further back now was that for Philip Wright, I think it was, and that's let the 2011 champion Patrick Fletcher, who was 8th last year, get through into 6th position now. You can really see that there is a difference between the dry and the wet line of the circuit. Some parts of the circuit have a wider dry line. Here's Fincham just going through past the 95 car. That's Matt Ellis from Bury St Edmunds in his Saxo. And Wright hasn't given up on trying to get this place back away from Patrick Fletcher here. Patch, as he's known, graduate of the Saxmax Championship from a few years ago. On board with Steve Polston, where you can see how down the straights those Clios are much quicker. And Martin Ward is going to breeze through, I think, on the inside. Yes, he does. Oh, but is there a little bit of contact there from Polston? Certainly Ward was massively out of shape. Polston on the grass there as he tries to get back through on the inside. And he's back ahead of Martin Ward now. And that's backed Ward back up into Matt Fincham. I was about to say that through the corners, the Saxos, a little bit less powerful, but have slightly operated suspension compared to the Clios. They will corner a little bit better. They do handle that bit better. Like 2 Sport is the specific model of the Clios that we see out here. Matt Fincham there trying to make up his place. Well, Shane Deegan has checked out the first of the 2 Cambridge brothers going well, but there's contact further back. Saunders there was desperately trying to find a way through on the inside of Tom Bell. That got Tom Bell sideways. It's let Lee Deegan get into the equation as well. Lee Deegan is alongside Nathan Saunders now. He's on the outside line for the right-hander. The left-hander should say at the foot of the mountain. Does he go through? Yes, he does. So Lee Deegan goes 3rd, and Nathan Saunders is down to 4th position. And that was all the result of what happened 30 seconds ago, really, at Mansfield Corner, when Saunders was trying to find a way through on the inside of Tom Bell. Bell got sideways. Saunders was delayed as well. And Lee Deegan able to capitalise. His left hand dormer up, flapping merrily away, but he's up to 3rd place now. Saunders, like Lee Deegan, one of the contenders for the Rookie Award this year for drivers in their first season of racing. You can see Saunders has lost his driver's side door mirror effectively, clinging on by a thread. But Shane Deegan leading, Tom Bell 2nd. Tom Bell, as I say, having wrapped up the championship, 7 wins this season. Lee Deegan is off the circuit. He's going all the way up the grass along Park Circuit, and the car is bucking and bouncing around, and finally he's back on the tarmac, but not without losing 3rd place to Nathan Saunders. Paul Jarvis under pressure now from Patrick Fletcher for 5th position as they come up to the right-hander. Jarvis, who had that 3rd place last time out at Donington Park, holding on. Jarvis considerably ahead of Fletcher in the championship this season. Fletcher's not had the most reliable and consistent season. Down through the gooseneck they go. You could hear the rattle of the curves being taken by Jarvis, who's been racing now for, I think it's his 4th season in Stockhatch. He originally drove the car to the circuit. He's stopped doing that now, and his performance improving and increasing as time goes by. He was voted as the driver's driver of the year by his fellow competitors, and I'm sure that's an award that means an awful lot to him. Out of the final corner of the race comes Shane Deegan then. He's been pretty much unchallenged during the course of this one. The flag goes out, and for Shane Deegan, it's a 4th victory of the season. It secures 2nd place in the championship. Behind that man, Tom Bell. 3rd is Nathan Saunders, and 4th goes the way of Lee Deegan. In the background there, you can see Patrick Fletcher trying to get alongside Paul Jarvis as they come up to the line, but he can't quite make it work. He finishes less than 1/10 of a second behind. There's your top 10 then. Shane Deegan, Tom Bell and Nathan Saunders, the top 3. Martin Ward was the best of the Clios in 10th overall. As far as the championship is concerned, Tom Bell finishes the year on 261 points. Shane Deegan 2nd on 227. Lee Deegan in 3rd on 206.
Shane Deegan, well done on the victory there, your 4th of the year, and a gap you pulled out quite nicely.
Yeah. So as you say, 4th win of the year. More than thrilled with my first season in circuit racing. It's a tough race. We didn't know what set up to do. We went for an intermediate, not dry, not wet. Track dried, so going down the straights I was having to cool my tyres down by going on the wet puddles, but yeah, managed to bring it home with a good lead, so I'm more than happy.
And you wrap up second in the championship and you get ahead of your brother.
Yeah, I think he finished 4th, so yeah, pulled a good gap on him. We don't know if we're going to get a race later, so we'll wait and see, but I think I've near enough cemented it now, so yeah, it's really good.
Well done, Shane.
Thank you.